Time to pull up a chair. We've got another great story for you today in the rLounge. Some people just don't know when to quit. Today in the rLounge, if you're going to flirt with someone, maybe don't pick the one person who might just decide to have you cut from the will. The cousin's dreams of that fat inheritance? Gone. Not even a crumb left. Cousin tried to sleep with my husband at a family reunion. She got thrown out and removed from the will. I'm 35, married to Mike, 37, for 5 years. We've always had a good relationship, the kind where we enjoy each other's company and still laugh at each other's jokes. I'm close with my grandmother, who raised me after my parents died in a car accident when I was 12. She's 80 now, sharp as ever, and lives in a beautiful estate that's been in our family for generations. Then there's my cousin Amber, 29 and single. She's always been jealous of my bond with our grandmother. It's been obvious since we were kids. She'd compete over everything, especially Grandma's attention. It only got worse as we grew up. Grandma's well off, but doesn't flaunt it. She's helped us with a few things like college and house down payments. My cousin, though, seems convinced the inheritance should be hers alone. Every year, Grandma hosts a big family reunion at her estate. 3 days, about 30 relatives, pool time, barbecues, catching up. It's usually nice, aside from her petty comments. This year, Mike hesitated about going. Last reunion, she'd made odd remarks to him when she thought no one could hear. Stuff like how good he looked, if he ever got bored with me. He brushed it off, but it left him uneasy. I told him she was just trying to get to me through him. I was wrong to dismiss it. A few months back, I visited Grandma to help plan the reunion. She mentioned updating her will, saying I'd get a substantial portion since I'm the only one who checks on her regularly. I didn't think much of it. The money's not why I'm there. But when my cousin called and learned I was helping, she suddenly wanted to pitch in. She'd never cared before. Then she started texting me more, asking about Mike, our marriage, if we ever fought. It felt off. I kept my answers short. She followed him on social media, liked old photos, even commented, "Looking good," on her honeymoon picture. Mike mentioned it to me, uncomfortable. She also told family we were having marital problems. My aunt called, worried. I confronted her over the phone. She denied it, said I was paranoid and she was just being supportive. Grandma insisted we come to the reunion anyway, missing us, so we went. We arrived, and she met us at the door in a low-cut top and shorts, out of place for a family event. Her hug with Mike lingered too long. He stiffened. I shot her a look and said, "That's enough." She smiled and said, "What? He's family too?" At dinner, she kept talking to him, asking for dishes he couldn't reach, laughing too loud, touching his arm. Grandma noticed, frowning. I told her quietly, "Stop it, or we'll have an issue." She rolled her eyes. The next morning, Mike went for a run. She happened to jog the same path, complimenting his fitness the whole time. He came back upset, told me. Later by the pool, she spilled her drink on his shirt, accidentally she claimed, and dabbed at his chest with a napkin, getting too close. I said, "Back off now." She laughed it off. Relatives looked uneasy. That evening, Mike told me she'd cornered him after he left the bathroom, asking if he was truly satisfied with me, suggesting he needed something different. He shut it down and walked away, angry. We decided to document her behavior after that. It was too much. Last night after the barbecue, I went to the hall bathroom since ours wasn't working. I returned to our room and found her there, blouse half unbuttoned, standing close to Mike. He looked horrified, telling her to leave. She was saying, "I know you want me. I'm your destiny, here to save you from a dull life." I snapped, "What are you doing?" She turned, calm as anything, and had said Mike had invited her in, that I wasn't enough for him. He pulled out his phone. He'd recorded it. She'd come in uninvited, ignoring his protests, and started that bizarre destiny rant. Her expression shifted when she realized. She yelled we were setting her up, claiming, "He's my soulmate from a past life. You can't stop fate." Grandma and some relatives came running. We explained and played the recording. Grandma's face turned stern. "Pack your things and go," she said. My cousin tried tears, then threats. Said she'd contest the will, call Grandma unstable, ruin us. Grandma replied, "You've just lost any share you had. Leave or I'll call the police." She stormed out, breaking a vase, shouting nonsense. The next morning, Grandma told everyone she was meeting her lawyer to cut her out completely. Other relatives shared similar stories. She'd flirted with their partners too. Mike and I left early, shaken. She's since posted online about fake family, and told some I'm jealous that Mike chose her. No one believes her. The recording proves it. I've blocked her, but she keeps messaging from new accounts. Angry, then sorry. I don't reply. Grandma made it clear she's not welcome anymore. Mike feels awful, though it's not his fault. We're okay. Her destiny excuse is ridiculous. Almost funny if it weren't so messed up. Anyone dealt with this? How do you handle someone who won't let it go? Your cousin's behavior is way out of line, and honestly, unhinged. Trying to come between you two, then playing the victim when she got caught? Yikes. And your grandma? I love that she shut it down without hesitation. At this point, blocking her and moving on is probably the best call. If she keeps popping up with new accounts, maybe even consider getting a no contact order. She clearly can't take a hint. Update. First, thank you all for the supportive comments on my original post. I didn't expect so many people to relate to this mess or offer such practical advice. It's been a whirlwind since I last wrote, and my cousin's behavior has taken turns I never saw coming. We've had to escalate things legally to protect ourselves, and while it's not fully over, I wanted to share what's happened. After the reunion incident, her harassment didn't stop. It ramped up. She started flooding my inbox with threatening emails, insisting she deserved her share of Grandma's inheritance. One message read, "I've earned that money as much as you, if not more. You and your husband have poisoned Grandma against me." She seemed convinced that if she pressured me enough, I'd run to Grandma and beg to put her back to the will. I didn't reply to a single one. Why give her the satisfaction? When ignoring her didn't work, she pivoted to other family members, trying to win them over with a completely rewritten story. She claimed Mike had been pursuing her for months before the reunion, that I was jealous and using my influence over Grandma to punish her. Most of the family didn't buy it, especially those who'd seen her antics firsthand, but a few distant relatives started asking questions. It was infuriating to hear her lies spreading, but I held off on confronting her directly. Better let her dig her own hole. Grandma caught wind of it and was livid. She had her lawyer draft a cease and desist letter warning my cousin that any more contact or defamation would mean legal consequences. I thought that might finally shut her down, but it only made her angrier. She took to social media with vague posts about gold digging, relatives who steal what's rightfully yours, clearly aimed at me and Mike. A few family members screenshot them and sent them to my way, asking if I was okay. I was mostly just tired of her nonsense. Her behavior started costing her relationships. Several relatives cut ties after hearing the full story from those at the reunion. Even her parents, my aunt and uncle, were horrified when they saw the recording of her in our bedroom. They called us to apologize, saying they had no idea she could act like that. They tried talking to her, urging her to stop, but she turned on them too, accusing them of siding with me because they wanted Grandma's money for themselves. It was a ridiculous leap, but she was committed to it. Things hit a breaking point when she showed up at my workplace. I'm at a marketing firm, and one afternoon, the receptionist called my office saying my cousin was in the lobby demanding to see me. I was stunned. She'd never pulled anything so bold. I told them to not let her up and get security if she wouldn't leave. She didn't. Instead, she started yelling that I was destroying her life and owed her compensation. Security had to escort her out while she shouted wild accusations about me and Mike. A handful of coworkers saw the whole thing, and I was mortified. My boss was sympathetic, but suggested I considered a restraining order, given how unhinged she'd become. That was it for me. I'd had enough of her crossing the lines and embarrassing me in front of people I work with. I gathered everything, her emails, texts, social media posts, the work security footage, and the reunion recording, and went to a lawyer. Mike and I filed for a restraining order and sent our own cease and desist letter. I wasn't about to let her keep this up without consequences. The court hearing was a train wreck for her. She chose to represent herself, which went about as well as you'd expect. She couldn't keep her story straight, first saying Mike had invited her into our room, then stumbling when the judge asked why he'd recorded it if that were true. She accused me of manipulating Grandma, but had no proof. Then she veered into absurdity, claiming she was destined to rescue Mike from a passionless marriage. Some cosmic nonsense that made the courtroom go silent. Our lawyer played the unedited recording, and that was that. The judge granted a 1-year restraining order, no contact with us, no coming near our home or jobs, no posting about us online. Outside the courthouse, she lost it. She screamed that we'd regret defying her true purpose, and that the universe would punish us. A local reporter there for another case caught part of her meltdown on video. It was humiliating for her, but for me, it was a relief. Public proof of how unstable she'd become. 2 days later, Aunt Judy called, sobbing, asking if I'd consider reconciling. I told her firmly but calmly that my cousin had gone too far, threatening my marriage, showing up at my job, lying to everyone, and hadn't shown a shred of regret. That's when Aunt Judy dropped a bombshell. This wasn't new. She tried flirting with friends' boyfriends and even her sister's fiancé years back. The family had downplayed it as just her personality, but now they saw the pattern. Worse, she'd racked up gambling debts she'd hidden, counting on Grandma's money to bail her out. It explained her desperation after being cut from the will, not just jealousy, but survival. She'd made her choices. Even with the restraining order, she found a loophole. She sent a letter through a mutual cousin, half apologizing, half threatening to reveal family secrets if I didn't help her get back in Grandma's good graces. I took her straight to the police as a violation. Plausible deniability or not, it was her handwriting. They're handling it now. The stress hit Grandma hard. Her blood pressure spiked, landing her in the hospital for a few days. We had a family meeting there, and everyone agreed, no passing her messages, no updates about us, report any contact to me. Grandma later told me my cousin had asked her for an inheritance advance months before the reunion. She'd refused, saying she needed to get her finances in order first. That rejection might have sparked her plan to target Mike. Maybe she thought breaking us up would win her back in Grandma's favor. After her release, Grandma invited us to dinner with her lawyer and 2 relatives as witnesses. She's directed my cousin's former will share to a charity for harassment victims, a sharp, fitting move. I'm posting this because people asked what happened, and it helps me process it. We've got 10 months left on the order, and I don't know what she'll try when it's up. For now, we're legally protected, and most of the family's done with her lies. Any advice on bracing for her next stunt? Thanks for reading and weighing in. Whoa. Showing up at your job? Screaming in court? The cosmic soulmate rant? She really hit every square on the unhinged behavior bingo card. I'm glad the judge saw right through it and gave you a restraining order. And huge props to your grandma for standing her ground and even donating your cousin's would-be inheritance to a charity. It sucks that it got to this point, but I hope you feel some relief knowing the truth is out and your family's backing you up now. Update 2. Thanks again for all the support in my original post and first update. It's been a chaotic few months, and I appreciate everyone's kind words and advice. After the restraining order was granted, Mike and I needed a break. We took 2 weeks at a beach resort, no social media, barely checking phones, just time to unwind. It was a relief to step away and focus on us without that constant tension. When we got back, though, we found out she'd created a website about the whole mess. She didn't use our full names, likely dodging legal trouble, but it was obvious who she meant. The site claimed Mike had chased her for years, that I'd manipulated Grandma for money, and even threw in fake stories, like me sabotaging her prom as teens. It was unhinged. Our lawyer sent a cease and desist letter, and the site was down in a day. My aunt later said my cousin had lost most of her friends over this. They'd finally seen through her wild tales. I didn't care much about her social life, but it was satisfying to hear her lies weren't sticking anymore. We'd shut it down fast, and that was what mattered. In October, my uncle, her dad, reached out. He'd been overseas with the military and only recently got the full story from his wife and others. He came to our house to apologize in person, genuinely upset about everything. It was a decent gesture, and we appreciated it. He filled us in on some backstory. She'd been manipulative since childhood, making up lies about classmates to push them out of friends groups, especially anyone she envied. He and my aunt had tried therapists, but she'd talk her way out of it, convincing them she was fine. They'd stopped pushing, just hoping to contain her. It put things in perspective. Not an excuse, but a pattern. I wasn't her only target. She'd just gotten bolder with me. Then came the weirdest twist. Late October, my aunt said my cousin had started dating some rich older guy and dropped all contact with us. No emails, no posts, nothing. She'd moved in with him after a few weeks, claiming he was her new destiny, and she didn't need Grandma's money anymore. It was a relief she'd shifted focus, but I couldn't help wondering how long that guy would last before she pulled something. My aunt seemed hopeful it'd stick, but I wasn't holding my breath. Grandma's health bounced back once the drama faded. She hosted an early Thanksgiving at her estate, and without my cousin there, it was calm. First time in ages we could all just enjoy it. We talked about how to handle her moving forward. Everyone agreed. She's not welcome at family events unless she owns up to everything and gets help. Grandma said she'd consider forgiving her if she proved she'd changed, but not just to be used again. I backed that. That day, Mike and I told everyone we're expecting our first kid. Grandma was thrilled, and it turned into a big celebration. People congratulating us, already planning ahead. It was nice to have something positive take over after all her nonsense. My aunt mentioned later that my cousin had bragged to her about her boyfriend taking care of everything, like she'd hit the jackpot. I didn't trust it. Sounded too convenient after her gambling debts came up. Early December, I got a text from an unknown number saying she was using this guy for cash, telling people she'd drain him dry. It was from one of her old friends, fed up and warning us. We debated telling the boyfriend, but decided against it. No hard evidence, and it'd just drag us back into her orbit. He'd have to figure her out himself. Sure enough, he called me a few weeks later, asking about her past. He'd noticed her stories didn't add up and started digging. I kept it short, pointing him to the restraining order records and said he could decide what to make of it. I wasn't about to play mediator. A week after that, word got around she'd been dumped. My aunt ran into him in a coffee shop. He'd found out about her debts and her real intentions. Kicked her out on the spot. She'd spun some line about being his soulmate from another life, but he wasn't buying it. It was almost funny, her cosmic excuse flopping again. Then, right before Christmas, she emailed Grandma, begging to be let back in, saying she'd learned her lesson and wanted to fix things. Grandma forwarded it to us with a note. Words don't mean much when she's out of options. We all agreed she'd need to show real effort. Years of it, not just a sob story when she's broke, before anyone considers it. My uncle suggested she start with help for her issues and stick to the restraining order, still active for months. I'm not counting on it. She's too good at dodging accountability. For now, she's out, and that's fine by me. Mike and I are busy getting ready for the baby. Grandma's doing better, excited about being a great grandma, already knitting stuff and talking about fixing up a room for us to use when we visit. It's a shift I'm happy to focus on. Her drama's taken up enough space. Every time she tries something, we've pushed back, and it's kept her at bay. The website stunt? Shut down. Showing up where she shouldn't? Restraining order. This boyfriend mess? Blew up in her face. She's running out of moves. I'm posting this because people asked what happened, and it's good to get it off my chest. The order's got months left, and I don't know what she'll pull when it's up, or if she'll even wait that long. She's quiet now, but I'm not naive enough to think it's over. Anyone got thoughts on handling whatever she tries next? Thanks for sticking with this saga. It's been a lot, and your input's helped more than you know. I think your grandma's response for that Christmas email was spot on. Words are cheap when someone's only showing up after everything else falls apart. She's had more than enough chances. If she truly wants to change, big if, it'll have to be proven over time and without expectation or immediate forgiveness. As for what might happen when the restraining order ends, I'd say be prepared, but don't let her steal your joy or peace of mind now. She feeds off the chaos. You've shown you can shut that down. Congrats on the baby, by the way. Wishing you and Mike a smooth rest of your pregnancy and many calm, happy days ahead. For those of you who've dealt with toxic family members or people who keep trying to claw their way back in, how did you handle it when they tried to make nice again? Share your stories with us in the comments. And thank you for joining us today in the rLounge. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time. And please put your chair back where you found it.